Hello, Billy, and thank you for agreeing to come and chat to us today on the Northern Star Acting Podcast. How are you?
I'm doing great this morning. It's about 12 noon here in Los Angeles, California, Hollywood.
And in the UK, it's 8 o'clock and it's pitch black, so it's nice to see some sunshine there behind you.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful today. It's been raining all week, so this is a great day today.
Oh, brilliant! We've got blizzard in the way. Anyway, for those who might not know you, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. First of all, you have to pronounce your name for me so I know I get it right.
Eirian.
Eirian.
Oh my God, you actually got it.
Well, that's because I'm a good R. I roll the R's very well because in California there's a lot of Latinos that live here. So
there we go.
Right.
Normally takes people a few goes.
Right. Well, I'm pretty good at languages and dialects. So I grew up in San Francisco in the late 60s, early 70s. I was playing in a rock and roll band, and I decided to come to Los Angeles in 1974, I think it was, to be a big rock and roll star, a guitar god. And then disco happened, and that kind of screwed up my live music career. So I kind of bounced around. Had done some retail work in the Bay Area in San Francisco, and I did that in Los Angeles, and I hated my life. I was moving further and further away from my art. And a friend of mine was living with a woman. One of my best buddies was living with a woman who was casting. And I was sort of intrigued. I said, what does she do? How does she do that? And he says, well, let's meet for lunch. So we all got together. And she kind of explained to me what she did. And I said, well, I like movies and I like people. I could do that. And she said, well, come work for me for free. Yeah. So I wound up doing that. I was working at Beverly Hills Porsche Audi, the new and used car sales manager there in 1984. And was making $100,000 a year, driving a really fancy car, hanging out at all the big Hollywood parties with going to the Playboy Mansion, and I hated my life. I literally, you would think that it was a great life, but
it sounds great.
But if you're not doing your art and you're not doing what really makes your heart happy, then it's worthless. All the money in the world doesn't make it.
I agree with that 100%. We're all born for something, and we've got to go out there and do it.
And that's what I tell people. I tell people every single day. I say, this career, this livelihood, this mission that you're on as an artist has got to be always the number one thing.
Yes.
I always tell actors, if you have something to fall back on, you'll fall back on it.
You will.
So you have to focus. In every seminar and every lecture I do, I tell actors the one word you need to leave here with is focus, because most actors get so scattered. They've got to pay the bills, and they've got to pay the rent, and they're not sure if they're going to get their next job, and they're looking for an agent, and they have crappy headshots, and they start to kind of lose track of what their mission is.
Yes.
And their mission, like anything else in this world, is to focus on what you want. And when you focus on it and you make that your primary goal without letting anybody, you and I both know that, excuse me, I have to cough. I have a terrible cold that I had last week, and I'm just getting over it. And I only cough when I talk, so I'm probably going to cough a few times. But actors, like all artists, when they're growing up, they get a lot of resistance from the people around them. Often, mom and dad and your friends and your best mates would say, "What are you doing? What are you thinking? You can't do that. Why don't you get a real job? Why don't you go to school and have something to fall back on?"
Yes.
And the problem is that we start to second guess our own goals and our own passion for what we're doing, and we say, well, maybe I could get a degree in business, or maybe I could go to law school like my mom always wanted me to do, be a doctor. But then what happens is your focus starts to move from what your real dreams are and what you want in your life, and it moves to something else. It's not easy. Being an artist and existing is not easy, but nothing worth having in your life is easy. I mean, you need to work for what you want, and the rewards are not just that goal at the end, that statue that you're holding on to at the Golden Globes or at the Emmys or at the but it's the journey. It's the incredible work and I don't know. It's the adventure of being an actor. And I think that when you stop looking at your career as an actor as anything but an adventure is when you start losing your passion. So the first thing I tell people is focus, make sure that you're on track, that you're doing all the things that you need to do as an artist to make sure that your chances, your possibilities of succeeding in this business are as high as they can be by doing the things, planting the seeds and laying the foundation that you need to do as an actor.
Absolutely. I love it. And I think a lot as well that actors can get so focused on what they want and the fact that they're not there yet, that they forget to enjoy the ride, and like fun, acting is fun.
Right. In fact, we were just talking about Europe before. My big, the most amazing joy in my life is to get on a train anywhere in Europe and go somewhere else in Europe, because it's not because I spent a lot of time in Italy and I spent a lot of time in Italy. And you get on a train in the south of Italy and you wind up in the north of Italy or in Vienna or in Prague, but it's not where you're going. It's the journey. It's the destination. That's so exciting. So, I mean, I think when actors forget about that, they start to lose their direction.
Yeah, completely. So let's go back to you. You've had a very interesting career and you've worked with some huge names.
Yeah, I've been lucky in my life to be able to work with some great artists.
Well, I don't think you've been lucky. I think you must have worked hard at it and made it happen.
Yes, I think so. I mean, I think we all, we can apply this to the actors that are watching this today. Is that you create your reality.
Completely.
And I think that what happens is that sometimes we forget that we're the captain of our own ship. When I was growing up as a little boy, I always wanted to play rock and roll, and I always wanted to be. I grew up in the era of the Beatles. You've probably heard of them; those four guys from Liverpool. I had a passion to play rock and roll. Things kind of happened, you had to pay the rent, you took a left turn. But ironically, now, because I've been so lucky as a casting director, I'm able to play my music again.
Brilliant.
I play in the band. You should come see the band if you're in Los Angeles. I'll tell you about that. I'll give you all the information that you can put it up on your website. But the point is that I think actors tend to lose focus. Hold on one second. Middle of an interview, I'll call you later. They lose focus on the dream, their passion. And I think when you, as a casting director, yes, I think that I've worked really hard, but it's because I love what I do so much. Yeah. I wake up every single morning and I thank the heavens that I have a job where I get to do this and I get paid for it.
Yeah.
And so my passion comes not just from the fact that I've laid my foundation as a professional, because that's all the technical stuff. I've done my work. I've seen every movie out there. I've seen every TV show. I go see tons of theater. I meet as many actors as I can. But the bottom line is that when I'm sitting in that office watching actors do their work, that's my life's joy, So So that's what keeps me going. That's my passion. Yes, but yes, I have worked with some big stars, and I've done some. I started out in 1984 working on some big studio movies, which was fun. I worked with Arnold Schwarzenegger on Predator and The Running Man and Commando, and I did a film called Three Amigos. I think most people have seen that one of my favorite funny movies of all time. Mm-hmm. I did a movie called Colors with Sean Penn and Robert Duvall, directed by Dennis Hopper, about the gangs in Los Angeles. It came out in 1988. I think you can get it on Netflix. Or you can
Brilliant, yeah.
Great movie. And, I've gone on to cast, 150 movies. I worked on a TV show for a long time called America's Most Wanted, which was a big sort of a crime reenactment show here in the States. And now we're working on another sort of reenactment show called In an Instant, which is an ABC show, which also has reenactments of drama and trauma. And it's a lot of fun. We also work on a lot of faith-based movies. We do a lot of Christian films. We did a movie called God's Not Dead, which was a huge international hit a couple of years ago, and we did the sequel, God's Not Dead 2. Mm-hmm. And we just finished a movie, excuse me, a movie called The Case for Christ, which is a really awesome movie about it's a true story about a reporter whose name is Lee Strobel in the late 70s, early 80s, was an award-winning Chicago journalist, worked for the Chicago Tribune, and was an atheist. And his wife, through a series of events, became born again. And he freaked out. He said, "You cannot believe in God because I don't believe in God, and that's not the way our family thinks." And so he went on a mission to prove that God didn't exist. He would go to, he went he would interview all the experts. And what happened through his investigation is he found out that Jesus probably really did live, and Jesus was a real historical figure, and he became born again himself. So it's a nice little journey, a great story. It comes out in April, I believe, April of this year. So it's coming up pretty soon. So we've worked with them, with a company called PureFlix on these films, excuse me, for about 10 or 12 years, and we've worked with them on about 35 movies. We just finished doing a TV series for them as well called The Encounter. 10 or 12 episodes we did last season, and we're starting a new season soon.
Brilliant. And what are these big stars, like Cameron Diaz, Brad Pitt, Arnold Schwarzenegger, what are they like to work with?
Excuse me, so sorry. Well, I met Cameron in the beginning of her career when she was a model and just starting out as an actor. And we put her in a TV commercial that shot in Australia with a great Australian director named Alex Proyas, who went on to direct The Crow and Dark City and IRobot. And I worked with him on all those movies. And Cameron was awesome. I mean, she had a great attitude about the business. She was very talented. Because she was modeling before, she was very comfortable in front of the camera, and she's just a very funny, charming, person who was so easy to get along with and so easy to fall in love with. So her career, we all knew. In fact, when we were casting the commercial, I'll try to give you the thumbnail version of this. It was basically a story of it was a Coca-Cola commercial. Right. And it's on my reel, and I'll put a link up to my reel so you can see it. And the story of the commercial is there's a woman in a lighthouse who's sending out a message on, you can see kind of a message coming out, and it's a Coca-Cola, basically a banner for Coca-Cola. So we needed a woman to be able to run down the beach at night in a bikini on her way to this lighthouse. Well, she came in, and she, we were seeing all these models, and they were all having to just, take off their robe and and we do a little spin with her bikini on, and she came in and she had cutoffs and a tank top, and she goes, "This is what I look like. Here's a joke," and she told us a joke, and when she walked out of the room, we all just looked at each other and said, "Okay, that's her. That's the woman." It had nothing to do with her body or the bikini.
Yeah.
It had to do with her attitude. When she walked into the room, she was so excited to be there and so funny and so personable.
But you know what? This is something that I've been talking about today. Like, people should just be themselves and show personality. And that's such a good example of this, of somebody coming in and not doing the same as everybody else and just showing you who they really are. That's lovely. I love it.
Because, it's a human business. People want to they want to hire people and they want to work with people that they like.
Totally, real people,
right? And that they're going to have fun with on the set. Nobody wants to work with everybody wants to work with people they like. So
yes.
So when you present yourself in a way, and it doesn't always mean you should go off script or you should do something completely different, but your attitude when you walk into the audition room is really, really important. And Brad Pitt was the same way. I knew them both at the very beginning of their career, and Brad was a young guy who I was working on a movie, really kind of a bad, low-budget horror movie, and it was about all these guys that lived up in the mountains, sort of these Amish missionaries that lived, they had long trench coats and big rifles, and they rode around on horses, and it was a modern-day kind of a kidnapping story. So a friend of mine who was working on the production said, "Hey, I have a friend who just came out from St. Louis. Will you take a look at him and have him come in and read?" I said, "Sure." So he came in all dressed with a trench coat and he had the big hat on, and he was terrible. He wasn't very good.
Really?
No, he was. It was the very beginning of his career. He was a really good looking guy. He was probably 23 years old, 22. Charming, sweet, and made an impression on me because he was so eager and so excited about being able to act. Yeah. And so I didn't cast him in that one, but about 6 months later, I was working on another bad horror movie, and I always pin the picture on the wall behind me.
Yeah.
Probably a couple back there now, of people that I know and I like, and I come just to keep them in my mind. Well, we had started this movie, and it was we were seeing lots and lots of actors, some pretty big actors, and the producer, this Italian producer, Salvatore Alabiso, was not crazy about any of the actors that we'd seen. And he walked by my office and he saw the picture on the wall, and he said, "Who's that boy on the wall?" "That's Brad Pitt, but I don't think he's strong enough for." He said, Bring Brad in. Have him come in. I want to meet this boy. So we brought him in, he read, and the producer fell in love with him. And I said, I'm not sure he's a very good actor. I don't think he'll ever really make it. And the producer said to me, "Billy, you mark my words. This boy needs to be movie star." And of course, he was a movie star.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
So we hired him for the movie, but here's the ironic part. We hired him for the movie, and while we were casting, a friend of mine who had worked for a big agency, he was working for Triad, which merged with William Morris, and the agent called me and said, "Hey, we're developing a young talent division, and we're trying to sort of populate it with, actors between 18 and 25. Do you know anybody?" And I said, "Well, he's not the strongest actor in the world, but he's charming, and when he walks in the room, everybody wants to have." Everybody wants to know him. He's a really sweet man. You should meet him." So they met with him, and of course, he was charming. He was everybody fell in love with him at the agency meeting. And my friend David, the agent, called me and he said, "We have some good news. We're going to sign him to the agency, but the bad news is we're going to pull him from your movie because we want to keep him available in Los Angeles for pilot season." And our little horror movie, was shooting in Florida. And of course, Brad called me crying, and he was, "What do I do? I don't know what to do." I said, "Go with the agency. They're going to take good care of you, and we'll work together again." So, and we never did, but
I was just about to ask that. Wow, what a story! But that's it's really inspirational that somebody like Brad Pitt can go from being not that great to being what he is now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think, but everybody in this business, I think every actor, every artist starts with a certain skill set, and the more comfortable they get with their instrument, the more comfortable they get with their, with being able to create characters. I always tell actors you need to be in a great technique class and a great scene study class.
Yes.
And what happens is you grow into a career, so to speak. You sort of, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you just never make it. You never get out of that box. But I think actors that are really sincere about their careers will get into a good class, and they'll find out that there's an evolution. Nobody starts out with a big resume. Nobody starts out with a reel full of great work. Yeah. Nobody starts out as a movie star. Everybody has to do the work and lay the foundation. So that's what Brad did, and of course.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah,
love it. Right, I have got some questions for you from Tribe from Northern Star.
Great.
So I'm going to start off.
Hello, Tribe.
They are awesome, honestly. I love them. So we've got Lee Preston. Now, he had a million questions, so I've chosen a few. How do you prefer to be contacted by new talent?
Email is usually the best. Castboy@castboy.com. You've got the email address, and you'll pass that.
I have. I'll send you their details anyway.
Yeah, but anybody can contact me that way. My philosophy, though, is that, if I know who you are, you don't have to send me an email every week or every day, which some people do. You don't have to send me your reel and your pictures and resumes every day, every week. But if you're, for instance, I think that you should contact somebody in the industry when you're doing something that's of note and that they don't already know about you. For instance, if you get a new agent, you're going to be on ABC this Friday night and I should tune in. You're in a new play and you send me an invitation to come by on the weekend. Those kind of things are the ways you stay in touch. I mean, I think what happens is sometimes you can become a little annoying and overdo it. So contact me when there's something there's something interesting for me to know. Awesome.
And he also wants to know, do you consider new talent when you're casting?
Yeah. I mean, I almost only consider new talent.
Really?
I mean, of course, I've got my stable of people that I've met and used over the years, but our company, our particular casting company, prides itself on seeing as much new talent as we can. I am a huge fan of bringing an actor in who's great for a role, who's the director and producer have never met before, or that I may never have met before, and having that director or producer say to me, "Where'd you find that guy?"
Awesome.
Or where did she come from? Or that's our perk. We love it when we get compliments from finding new talent. So we're always out there looking for new talent. And just so you know, if you're ever in Los Angeles and you're doing a play, if you have any clients in Los Angeles, always have them invite me, because I love to go see new talent in theater. And I also love to meet people in general interviews. So if you're here in Los Angeles and you want to meet with me, all you got to do is email me, and when time permits, we'll get together.
Cool.
Sorry.
What is it that makes an actor stand out to you?
It's something. It's inexplicable. You can't explain it. It's the kind of thing that we talk about chemistry. We talk about when an actor walks in the room, they have a sort of a star factor or whatever. There's it's impossible to explain. When you meet somebody, there's something that clicks, and you know that person is going to be right for your project, or that you develop sort of a sixth sense about it. Sixth sense, not a sixth sense. But I have to tell you that the thing that that attracts me about to most actors is their commitment. So I know when they walk into a room that they're prepared,
Yeah.
that they understand the material, that they've developed real choices in a character.
Mm.
That they don't just walk in and say, "Oh, you know what? I got these sides last night, and I don't really I don't have them down, but I'm going to do my." Don't come in then.
Yeah.
If you're not ready, if you're not prepared, if you're not ready to come in and give the best performance of your life, and every single performance should be the best performance of your life, then I don't want to see you, because I'm not going to hire you. You may walk into my room and you may think you're cute and handsome or pretty or whatever, and that's going to get you over. But the bottom line is preparation and talent, and being able to put those two things together when you present yourself as an actor in my room. You would never go into any meeting unprepared, not understanding what the character was, not understanding what the project was about. So why come into my office if you're not going to be completely prepared? And what you do too is you send a message to the casting director that you're not that interested, and the last thing you want to do is make a bad impression. I can't remember all the good actors I've met, but I really can remember all the bad ones, or the unprepared ones, or the ones that, the ones that just didn't nail it because they didn't seem interested. So there's got to be a passion that drives you, and I think that sometimes actors don't have it when they walk in the room, and if you don't have it, I have cats here, by the way. So.
Oh, I was wondering what that was. How many cats have you got?
Oh dear, I have 7.
Have you got 7? I've got 4. I want to open a cat sanctuary one day. That's on my 5-year plan.
Well, that's good. Well, yeah, I do too. I think I've already got one. My cats are all rescues. When I first sort of got involved in the whole Glendale community where I live, there were a lot of stray cats, a lot of feral cats. So I used to rescue them. I used to fix them, give them new homes, or at least get them fixed and released so they didn't make them. And I found homes for 100 cats, and the ones I didn't find homes for found my home. So.
Oh, that's lovely. Oh, anyway. Cats. Okay. So the next questions are from Chris Dudley. Do you believe an English actor can break the mold and be cast as the lead good guy rather than the typical Brit bad boy?
Oh yeah. I mean, but see, the thing is that every single role is based on what you bring to the role and not your accent. I mean, and especially in the U.S. right now with the Australian and the British actors, you don't even know if a guy is British, anymore, because they're all. I mean, you could probably name a lot more of the British actors that are here pretending to be Americans or doing American roles than I could, because I can't tell. So I think you should never let your accent or your dialect be a restriction. In fact, if you can't do an American accent and you're locked into British, there's no reason that most of the characters can't be that.
Yeah.
And in fact, this is when they're looking for a British actor. You're one of the few that's talented and passionate enough to book the role. I mean, it's sort of kind of like the thing where if your interpretation of the role is awesome, the producer and director will overlook whatever your accent is. And again, if you're a good actor, I just finished a film called Road to the Well, which features a guy named Lawrence Fuller. And if you check out Lawrence Fuller, Laurence, he's from England, spent some time in Australia, studied at the Old Vic in Bristol, and does a perfect American accent, but he's a great English actor. And it's his attitude. It's what he brings to the role that knocks people out. In fact, the first film that I cast him in was a movie with Robert Loggia, a very famous, who passed away, Godfather, and he was in Big with Tom Hanks, a big movie star, Academy Award nominated. And it was a movie called The Last Supper, about the 12 apostles. Yeah. And I brought Lawrence in to read for one of the roles of the apostle, but he's blonde-haired, blue-eyed Brit. So they didn't believe him as a Middle Eastern. So I had him go back down. He went back down to the Starbucks. He looked at a different role. He came back an hour later and he read for the role of Martinian. Excuse me. Martinian is the guard who overlooks the Apostle Peter and Robert Loggia. And he had us all in tears. He was so great, really awesome work. And so we hired him for that role. He was doing such great work that they expanded the role for him on the set. They gave him more work to do, and he did it all in his English accent. They're playing a Roman. Wound up on the video box, Lawrence Fuller, Robert Loggia in The Last Supper. So he's over the title, and one of his first starring roles in a movie. He's also starring in the movie called Road to the Well. Excuse me, Road to the Well, which is just being released now, and he was playing American in that one. So I think don't let your accent get in the way. Use it to your advantage. And remember that the bottom line is it's always the great work that you do and not the accent. And in fact, when you come in and you have an accent, it may be something a little refreshing or different than we haven't seen.
Yeah. Cool, brilliant. Okay, next one is from Sharon Spink. And she would like to know if you have, or what advice do you have for UK actors who want to make it in Hollywood?
Sharon, hi Sharon. I think that you have to. Well, first of all, it's a big move, So you have to come here. If you're going to come here, you have to come here very, very prepared. And by that I mean you're going to be competing with people, 100,000 actors that are all working and trying to get a job. So competing with those people is not always easy. And again, we talk about this, and I can't say it enough, preparation and training. There's a thing that I call the 5% rule. The 5% rule is that in Los Angeles, especially, yes, there are 100,000 actors, but there are only 5% of those actors that are ready to work because they have the proper training, because they've got their package together regarding their headshots and their resume and their reel, that they're in a good class, that they've started to create relationships like with me, and that's so the competition you have in this town is those 5% that are really doing that every day. 95% of the actors don't do that. 95% of the actors sit around waiting for the phone to ring with their finger in their ear and have no idea why they're not making it in this town. So when you come to Los Angeles, make sure that you're one of the 5%. And then just from the standpoint of making you feel good about yourself, that you're one of the elite and not one of the schlubs that's out there not doing their work. It gives you this positive mental attitude, which you really have to, we all call it PMA. You got to have that positive mental attitude whenever you walk into any meeting. And that comes from making sure that you're completely prepared. Yeah. So when you come here, it's not easy. You've got, and in fact, what I'll do is I'll send you a link to an article I wrote for Parents Magazine about 10 years ago, maybe not even that long ago, a few years ago, about moving to Los Angeles and about taking your career to the next step here. And it's all about making sure that you're prepared, but also that you understand the dynamics of this city. You know, what you're going to have to do as far as rent goes, what you're going to have to do as far as a job goes, what you're going to do as far as immigration goes. All those things come into play. You can't just drop off get off the plane and say, okay, where's my next interview? Where's my next audition? You know, you have to find an agent, you have to find a manager, you have to find, or a manager, I should say. Excuse me. For those who didn't hear before, I'm getting over a terrible cold. I'm at the coughing until I die stage. Well,
thank you for still doing the interview.
It's my pleasure. I'm so happy. I'm a big fan of helping, new actors and helping actors understand what they can do to make their life better.
Oh, cool. I've got another one. I've got another one from Chris Dudley. And he wants to know how UK actors can increase their chances of being cast over where you are, and also how they'd find the roles that are available.
Well, the best thing to do is to have a Los Angeles agent. And if you're going to be, it's kind of a long, and convoluted thing that you have to do as a foreign actor if you want to work here. Best thing to do is to move here and live here. If you don't live here, you have to rely on self-taping to send your stuff in for things that you might be right for. Most of the job listings come through the breakdown services or Actors Access. If you're not a member of Actors Access, you should become a member. Actors Access. It's part of the breakdown services, and it's the section of the breakdown services which is available to actors. Not all the top jobs go through them. A lot of times it's student films or short films or it's commercials.
Yeah,
there's a lot of work that comes through there. But you should also be prepared to self-tape. You should have a place in your community where you can self-tape to send auditions in if they allow for self-tapes.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I'm going to take 1 second here. Sorry. If you can find somebody in Los Angeles to represent you from afar, they can keep an eye on the quality work that's out there, the top jobs, the network and studio acting gigs that are coming out. Because Actors Access only allows, excuse me again, only allows for a certain amount of jobs. So
cool.
It's difficult. I mean, there's so many things to be involved, and then you can't just say, all right, I'm going to self-tape, and then not be prepared to move here or to come here if you get the job. I mean, exactly. They could say, okay, we love you. We need you here next Tuesday for rehearsal or for callbacks or for, so you need to determine all those things before you start to submit. I mean, it's
legally as well with visas and everything. They need to make sure that they can actually work if they get the work. Yeah.
Right. You want to make sure you do it. Because
next question. Sorry.
Okay. I was just saying people get angry on this side if they know that they've hired you and you're not able to work.
So rightly so. Next question is from our Spanish actress, Sandra Valera.
Hola, Sandro. ¿Cómo estás?
She would like to know, what are the chances, do you think, of a Spanish actress being cast in lead roles in Hollywood?
It's the same as anything else. If there's a role for a Spanish actor, you're going to get cast. If you're from Spain, you can maybe play Italian, or you can play Middle Eastern, or you can play Greek. There's a lot of roles that you can play. You have to learn how to speak English well.
Speak English very well.
But there's a lot of jobs for Spanish, and especially nowadays, there's a huge market now for the Mexican Mexican acting community, because Mexican commercials and TV are very popular because we live in a community where half the population is Spanish speaking. So, but mostly for Mexico. That's different than Spain. But you're going to still, you think about it this way. If there's a role for an actress from Spain, you're going to be at the top. I mean, the competition's not going to be that tough, you know. You're going to be the one who's going to get the gig, instead of hiring somebody who might be from Mexico or Colombia or whatever, who speaks Spanish, but it's not real Spain Spanish. So I always tell people that your peculiarities, your idiosyncrasies, are a plus. They're a positive, because if you come here and you have an accent, a Czech Republic accent, or a Russian accent, or a Spanish accent, you're going to be one of the people they're going to call in when they're looking for those people. So you're still special. My advice is always to work on getting rid of your accent, or reducing your accent as much as you can, and trying to adopt as much of an American accent as you can, because that's where most of the jobs are. But there's certainly jobs for Spanish, you know, speak, especially in Los Angeles.
Cool. And then you've kind of answered this one already, but she asks, what's the wow factor that you expect from actors?
Well, here's the thing. Think about it like dating. It's when you walk into a party, or you walk into a bar, or you walk into or you're having dinner with a man or a woman for the first time. What is it that intrigues you about that person? What is it that makes you see somebody across the room and say, oh man, it's, you know, you haven't even met them yet. You haven't even talked to them, but there's something, there's a spark, there's a charisma. And that charisma is what creates that wow factor. It's something that you can certainly develop, but you have to understand that it exists first. And you have to understand that when you walk into a room, that people respond to who you are as a human being. And if you're friendly and you're open and you're available as an artist, and you connect with the people in that room, I mean, you're not going to connect with everybody. So your wow factor in one casting office may not be the same in another casting office. So I think you just have to be self-aware of yourself, of how you connect with other people. Probably not the best business if you're an introvert, because although there are some introverted actors that are working a lot, but if you have you chose this profession because you love being in front of other people, so you have to be able to connect with those people on a deeper way than just, hey, hi, my name is blah blah blah, and the slate and whatever, and you have to connect with them on a personal level. And I think the wow factor comes from that. Excuse me. And I'm so sorry I've been coughing so much.
Oh, don't be. It's awesome that you still came and did the interview. It's really cool. Cool. Okay. Brilliant. Is there anything else that you want to talk about?
I'm just in final thoughts.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about it before. Your passion for what you do is what drives you. Think about when you were a little kid and you were in the play and you played the tree in Charlie Brown's Christmas, or you were so excited. You were 7 years old and you didn't care that nobody could see you. You were doing something with your life, and you're being an actor and you're being on stage. Think about that time when you're 5 years old and you're singing in the parlor with your grandma playing piano, and the audience is your whole family, and they are, of course, they're appreciative and they love you and they clap. Think about that rush. Think about when you were kids and you watched TV or you watched a movie and you wanted to be Spider-Man, or you wanted to be Cinderella, or you wanted to be James Bond, or you wanted to be Superman, or you wanted to be Madonna, whoever you wanted to be. You love those characters. You love creating those characters. The problem is you didn't get paid for them, but you didn't care. Now that you've grown up and you've moved into this business as a profession, you have to get paid. And now you have the pressure from mom and dad and from your peers and from your everybody that says, honey, maybe you should get a real job. Well, this is your real job. This is the job This is the job that you're just not working full time at yet, but you will be soon. If you lose that passion that you had when you were the little kid in that parlor with your family, or on the stage with Charlie Brown's Christmas, or dressing up as Cinderella, if you lose that passion, if you can't bring that with you to your adult life and your professional life, you can get out of the business. I mean, there's a lot of people that want to do this, and there's a lot of people that have that passion. There's a lot of people that give up almost everything to have this. You have to be one of those people. And if you're not, then you're just a rock in the road. Move out to the side and do something that you do well and you're happy at. Sell shoes or cars or wait tables, or become a doctor or an attorney. And there's nothing wrong with that. But this business is for dreamers who know how to get their dream. And so if you're not one of those people, then step aside and let them move forward. That's my philosophy. So
I love that. I can't even put into words how much I love that. That is so, so true. Billy, you have been absolutely amazing. And
I have been, haven't I?
So much. You have. And thank you so much for agreeing to do this today.
My pleasure.
When I'm in LA, I'm going to give you a shout, and let's definitely meet up.
I hope you do. And for everybody out there, my email address, and she'll put it on the website too, is castboy@castboy.com, CASTBOY. On Twitter at Billy DaMota. Tends to be kind of political sometimes. And you can always find me on Facebook at it's /Billy DaMota. Billy.DaMota, I think. So you'll find me. Stay in touch.
And any links you want me to put as well, then just let me know.
Great, we'll do.
Like that. Thank you, Billy.
Okay.